Well, welcome to our feeding room. The topic of choice today is nutrition and healthy eating, which for many of you parents, it's like, ugh, will I ever get there? You will. I'm going to preface this with saying that in our clinics, we have some kiddos, a certain percentage, that have very significant feeding issues. This video is not for you all. We know if your child is eating under 10 items, you probably need to be screened or evaluated for feeding therapy. I will preface that. But for those of you that are in feeding therapy, you all, that's great. You're doing what you need to do, and progress will be made. This is more for kind of the kids that prefer to eat chicken nuggets, burgers, pizza. They really could eat healthier, but they prefer those things that aren't healthy. You know, when we're younger, we don't think a lot about those health things because we're young, and we don't think about consequences of that. As I look at my life, I certainly curb what I eat a lot more now than I did when I was 5. Because I care about that and I understand that. So it's always really good to discuss with your kiddos, and they usually do this in school, what a balanced diet is. You know, fruits, vegetables, those different things. We want to make sure they're aware, but we also want to make it motivating to do that. One thing we do hear a lot that we do with our kids, even in feeding therapy, is they'll be a part of the preparation process. So have your kids cook with you. If you want them to try things, they're more likely to try something if they've cooked it. So that's a real great family activity. Great thing to do during the summer. Have your kids do meal planning with you. Have them go to the grocery store and shop for it. You can talk about this is frozen, this is fresh, all these different things. It's really fascinating things for your kiddos, and they absolutely love it. So that's my first point. But my second point is I probably would not work on healthy eating at a restaurant. Typically, our restaurants have kids menus that have those same 5 items I already mentioned on it. But I work on the process at home, and we've all had the fight over, no, I'm not going to eat my broccoli. It's green and it smells, right? I recommend that you sit down with your kiddos and talk about what vegetables they might want to try. Some of our kids are real picky, and certain colors they don't like, certain textures they don't like, certain smells they don't like. So make it a family effort, and maybe you can even prepare it in a certain way. I always pair, let's say I'm going to order a pizza. All right, well, you pick out the vegetables you want on the pizza, and then we'll decide the meat we're going to put on there. So each kiddo's different, and each kiddo's ability is different, and each kiddo's flexibility with change is completely different. So make sure you're keying into what works for your kiddo, but I never recommend force feeding them. I'm going to tell you that's going to cause trauma, and it's probably not going to work. Work with them on the ability to be able to touch it with their tongue, maybe to be in the room with it. And I know a lot of parents have gotten really creative, and they've actually pureed up vegetables and stuck it in meatloaf, and their kids don't even know they're eating healthy with it. So whatever you do, these are just a few ideas. But again, if your kiddo's having a lot of issues with food, and you're just feeling like in order for them to get nutrition, you're having to give them whatever they eat, that's usually a sign that you need feeding therapy.